it was funny. I said to a lot of the guys, I work with a lot of younger guys, and I said to them not too long ago, I said, if you heard a story on CNN 5 or 8 years ago, what would your opinion be? And they went, just that's the story, like that's the fact, and or something pertaining to, let's say, to COVID or some version of that, you know. And I said, what if you heard that today? They said, I'd have to look into it. They all went, I'd have to go find out if there was.
I work with a lot of young people that have really diverse opinions that I don't know how to argue, but I respect that that's their opinion. Jeremy's smiling.
I can, you know, my thing is.
Can I say it, Jeremy? I won't if you want me,
He could say it himself if he wants to.
Jeremy.
Sorry, what did you ask?
I asked, can I talk about like one of your opinions? I'd like to hear his take on it.
Yeah, do it. Yeah.
Jeremy's a flat earther.
I, you know, it's interesting about flat earthers. Mm-hmm. I work with Dr. Drew, obviously very good friends with Dr. Drew, and I think flat earthers drive him nuts. They piss him off. They drive him nuts.
Okay. I love this guy. He doesn't drive me nuts.
And there's a few of those people out there. I'm not bothered by flat earth.
I'm not bothered. I love this guy. He's probably one of the most talented, smartest people I know, yet he doesn't believe in the globe.
Well, I would ask that it will help me understand why.
Jeremy?
We should have a dedicated episode to this.
No, I just want to give a couple of minutes.
There is someone that you listen to specifically that has a podcast or something, right, that talks about it and all the reasons he gives for.
I just want to hear Adam's take on what you think. So just tell him what you think, and then we can have 10 episodes on flat earthers.
Shit, I don't know. I just, I've always been, I grew up the same way as everyone. Like I knew. I took science classes and all that stuff. When that idea got presented, I never thought about it before. And then when I tried to think about it, it was just, I don't know. I think it's interesting.
Well, okay, let me just chime in here. Jeremy, right?
Yes.
Is it Jeremy? So here's the question with a lot of stuff, because I've noticed this, what we would call conspiracy theorists. If you look at a lot of conspiracy theorists, it's not the actual subject, flat earth, or there weren't any Jews in either one of the Twin Towers that came down, or these kind of.
There weren't?
I've never heard that one.
I never heard that.
You never
Is that
heard
why
that
they?
No. Look, there are many theories about like no Jews being in that building on 9/11. Ed Asner, the late great Ed Asner, thinks those two buildings were taken down by the U.S. government.
Wow,
absolutely. And there's many people who think
Jeremy,
that.
do you think that?
Yeah, I do.
Oh,
so
I didn't know those were just synonymous.
Jeremy, you're making my point. Which is, what is the Earth being flat have to do with no Jews in either one of the towers on 9/11 and our own federal government being responsible for wiring those buildings to take them down to the ground? Those are two different subjects. Right. But as I found, and I found with Ed Asner when I interviewed him as well, the commonality between the conspiracy theorists is a sort of distrust and a hatred for our government. It's not so much, I think the earth is flat. It's, I don't believe our fucking government. And when they tell us something, I reject it. So that's where the Twin Towers and the flat earth have an intersection.
But I didn't.
That's like never going to. You don't believe we went to space either, right? I'm assuming.
I think
you never.
Does. No.
No, the moon landing. Yeah, no.
Never.
Got to get on board. With
so
that.
It's an overall, it's suspicion and probably a dislike for our government versus, I think.
But aren't some of these things like the globe is not a government? Like I don't know that I don't think the world is round because of government.
Well, an orthodoxy. Well, first off, the government sent people to outer space. The government faked the moon landing. The government built the satellites and sent them up so we could photograph the Earth from space so that you could see it was round. There's a connection there.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So,
but Jeremy
right.
hates the government or mistrusts his government. He hates the government and his stepdad. Those are the two. Those are the through lines.
But here's the thing, because most people would think that these are obvious, simple constructs. Yet now that I know Jeremy, he's incredibly bright. He's incredibly talented. He is so the two things, like, it sounds silly. Some of these thoughts sound silly, but from a bright person.
Where's Jeremy on vaccines, on COVID vaccines?
Where do you think? Where do you think?
I know where he's at. What, you want to know? But
I offered him $50,000 cash. He said no.
I gave him 60 not to do it. So just he's a good businessman. He's a helmet. No, but Howie.
Yeah.
What I was saying is sort of patterns. So going back to the beginning of this conversation when we were studying COVID, and I was like, I see where these patterns are going. I just sussed out Jeremy for you, did I not?
Absolutely. That's
Right,
amazing.
Right.
Like
He
you're
said he's a
psychic.
flat earther. I knew where he was on vaccines and the Twin Towers, right?
And space.
Right. So there's patterns to people, and that's what you're seeing.
But
That's what
but
I'm
he
seeing
probably
with
thinks
Jeremy.
the same thing of us.
Yeah, I'm sure he does. But what I'm saying is things don't really exist in a vacuum, even if you're in outer space where no one can hear you scream. Evidently, I'm just saying people get obsessed with, you really think the earth is flat? It's not. You really think those Twin Towers were wired by the government and just, blown up like a casino in Vegas that had lived its use or whatever? And it's like, it's not so much that. It's a general gestalt of, I don't trust government information and what would be a norm, what would be convention. So everyone is saying, get the vaccine, get back to normal. Jeremy is saying, not so fast. I don't trust general convention. And then this would then be a universal thing that would be applied to all facets of life. So flat earth, vaccine, Twin Towers, all very different subjects. But it's
from
all,
the same source.
It's all coming through the same prism and being processed the same way. So that's how you know where Jeremy is.